I'm the vice chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Our chair is absent tonight, so welcome. Just a little bit about how we proceed. Tonight we have special use projects that we'll be reviewing, and on the special use, the applicant will have the opportunity to take up to 15 minutes to present their case. The county will then, and if the board has questions of the applicant at that time, we can also ask questions then. The county will have 15 minutes to present their recommendations and their view on the special use. Then we'll open it up for public comment. If you want to have a public comment, you need to sign up over here at the desk, and you will have 3 minutes for your public comment. After the public comment period is closed, then we will close public comment. If the board has any additional questions of anybody at that time, we'll ask them, and then we'll move to act on the motions. So that's the process that we'll be doing. And we start every meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you'll still please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, Hillary, were all the notices published?
Yes.
We have had some changes to the agenda. Item number 6 is removed for a continuance until next month, and item number 14 was removed by the applicant. Can I hear a motion to accept the revised agenda?
So, yeah, second.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay, thank you. So our first item is to approve the minutes. Did everybody have a chance to take a look at them?
I didn't see him.
You didn't see them?
Sent them to everybody.
Were they in a small envelope?
No.
Oh,
They came online.
Email.
I didn't see those.
I don't think I saw it.
Y'all did that?
I don't think so. So we'll continue those till next month.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, one of those emails said attachments, but there wasn't nothing attached. That might be the one. And I meant to call you.
Okay.
Sorry.
So we'll do the minutes next month. Okay, our first applicant is number 8, Ms. Sharon Holmes.
Yes, they have all these. Good evening.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I don't have any questions except to know, how would y'all notify me if I get my permit or not?
Pardon?
When I would get my
The permit, well, what we'll do is we'll look at your application, and I believe it's a complete application, and then the question on when will it be available, we first have to vote to approve the special use, and then the county will move forward on it then.
Okay.
So does anybody on the board have any questions for Ms. Holmes?
I don't.
Right. So you have 3 bedrooms with 7 guests.
Yes.
And you'll be managing the property, or do you have a manager to do
I will
that?
be managing it because
Okay.
I stay at my home when it's not rented out.
Okay, so it is your primary residence?
Yes.
Okay, great. Does anybody have any other questions of Ms. Holmes? No. Thank you. Does the county have any?
No, she recommended approval.
Okay. Any questions of the county?
No.
Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the short-term rental set forth in the guidelines of Division 7.2.130 Delta of the Community Development Code.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor? You're approved. So Hillary, what's the process for Ms. Holmes after this?
I do the permits, and then I wait for the signature for the order,
Okay,
and then I'll mail them out once I get their signature.
Okay.
So I'll call you when the notices of decision is ready.
Thank you. Thank you. So our next item is Ms. Jordan is requesting a special use permit.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Okay, I'm fine. Thank you. I'm not Miss Jordan,
Okay,
but I am speaking on her behalf.
okay, thank you.
And who are you?
Oh, I apologize.
That's
My name
okay.
is Yvette Wilson.
Okay.
Okay. And so you have a special use. So Ms. Jordan lives in
New
New
Jersey.
Jersey. So
Yes.
will you be
We're
managing?
partners. We're partners.
Will you be managing the
Yes, ma'am.
property?
Yes.
And you live locally?
Yes, I do. Here in Beaufort.
And how many? So
Bedrooms, yes.
So, yeah.
16 guests, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Pretty big house.
Well, we have 5 bedrooms.
Okay,
Each bedroom would have, the 5 bedrooms, actually, we have 6 bedrooms, but 5 of them have 10 beds, 2 each.
okay,
Oh, okay.
And then one of them is large enough to put 2 queens in, so that's a total of 4.
okay,
Yeah. And then we also have a pull-out couch with a sofa in that also for anybody that's disabled and don't want to go up the stairs
Okay.
or what have you.
okay, great. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Wilson? Would the county like to comment?
You recommend approval?
Does anybody have questions for the county? Do I hear a motion?
I move that we accept this application for a variance. according to
Special
the
use.
Special use.
Special use.
I second it.
All in favor? Opposed?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so moving right along, we are now down to number 12, where Mr. and Mrs. Avart are requesting a special use. Would you like to come forward?
Good evening, Madam Chairwoman. My name is Kevin Dukes, the law firm of Harvey and Batty, and I'm here on behalf of Avarts, representing them in this permit application. The property that we're looking at is located at 41 Sea Pines Drive. It's a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom house on about 2.3 acres of property. The property, when the Avarts purchased it, was searched by the firm of Carolina Abstracting Services, which some of you may be familiar with. It's a very reputable abstracting agency that's been in Beaufort County for a long time, I think over 30 years, abstracting titles. That was reviewed and agreed that there are no covenants or restrictions on the property by Ms. Caitlin Reed, who is a local real estate attorney here in Beaufort. I myself have also reviewed that abstract and also looked further in to see if there was any other references to any covenants or restrictions. There are no covenants or restrictions on this property. There are some easements, but as far as covenants or restrictions against the use, there are none. And I think that's important. I anticipate that some of the public comment may raise that issue. This is in the Coffin Point area. Y'all may be aware that Coffin Point is kind of a hodgepodge of different communities that have been developed over time. Coffin Point is a general designation and not just a neighborhood in and of itself. So over the course of the last 50 or 60 years, there have been little developments which have had covenants and restrictions all over the place. So there are chances that some people may have covenants and restrictions on their property that may be very close to this property, but this does not. So I wanted to start and make that very clear that, again, 2 local real estate attorneys have confirmed that there are no covenants and restrictions, as well as the search being done by those very reputable title abstractors. I do have a copy of that abstract if we need it, but I don't think we will necessarily. In addition to that, I wanted to point out, Ms. Avart asked me to point out that she's been renting this property as a short-term rental for some time. She's never had any adverse complaints. She does have a local property manager who's here tonight if he needs to be heard from. But he's managed the property for a little over a year now. He's reached out to the neighbors on either side. They have his contact information, so they know who locally to get in touch with if there are any issues, if somebody's being loud, if there are too many cars, anything like that. In addition, she's taken great strides to implement certain house rules as far as how to use the property, after a certain period at night, 9:30, not to make any loud noises, and then not before 8 o'clock in the morning. She's also made clear to her guests that they should drive at the speed limit of 25 miles an hour because the roads are dirt roads, and that causes problems just with the nature of the roads and also a lot of dust for the surrounding property owners. And so she really has taken a lot of opportunity to try to make as little impact on the community as possible. Her property manager reached out to the direct neighbors. She is also, when this sign was posted, she posted a letter to the neighbors. She also attempted to send that letter to other neighbors through a neighborhood group through Facebook. She was unable to do that because she was unable to get into that group, but she has tried to reach out to the immediate community to make sure that the impact is minimized if there is any. I think that all of the necessary documents have been provided to the staff, and the application is complete. There's been a review of both the safety checklist, the fire safety plan, and we've also had the septic system inspected. The septic tank and field were inspected by Degler, who's, I'm sure y'all are aware of them. They're a reputable company locally, and they found the system to be operational and in good standing. And again, this is 2.3 acres of property, so we don't have stuff right next to other individuals' property lines. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions, but I do think that this is allowed in this area, and the owner really has taken great strides to make sure that any impacts on the community are minimized.
Thank you. Do y'all have any questions of the applicant?
Yeah, I do have one.
Yes, sir.
Is this from you?
That is, no, sir, that is actually the letter that was actually posted on the posting of the sign from the owner to the local community. That's the same letter she wanted to send out via Facebook.
Okay. Was there any response that you know of?
No, sir.
That posting?
No, sir.
Okay.
To be honest, I don't know how many people saw it because she was unable to send it out and it just went on the sign.
Okay.
But she's not had any sort of responses.
Okay.
Any other questions of the applicant? Would the county like to comment?
We recommend approval. I don't like to say this, but I did go looking for covenants and restrictions on this lot, and I couldn't find any, so I don't just take the word for it.
Okay, thank you. So we have, thank you. So we have Barry Fitzgerald, who would like to make a comment. You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Barry Fitzgerald, and I'm the owner of iTrip Vacations, South Carolina Sea Islands, and I am also the property manager in charge for the property at 41 Sea Pines. I just wanted to mention a couple of things regarding this particular property and the owner. This property, as Kevin had mentioned, I did, as I typically do, anytime I have a property, I try to reach out to the immediate property owners. I was able to actually speak directly to the only true abutter, I think, of the property, and given that individual my card along with instructions to please call me at any time. Owners, when they hire a professional property manager, expect the property manager to take care of issues, and so that they don't have to. So that's one of the reasons why I try to be as proactive and as responsive as I possibly can, just to cut off any issues, and so that as a service to the owner. The other thing I just wanted to mention briefly is this is not a typical, and I have probably 35 properties within the area. This is not a typical rental in that it is not while it's true, I guess it's an absentee owner only by definition. This particular owner spends quite a bit of time at this property. They probably 50% of the time that is available to be rented is actually taken up by the owner and their family, who, from what I've been told, who are planning to eventually move here full time and enjoy it at that point. The property is not advertised as pet friendly, so shouldn't be any complaints about animals or pets, and if there are, clearly then that's a violation of their tenant agreement, and we would certainly deal with that appropriately. The typical guest we have in this particular property is our Marine Corps families coming in for Marine Corps graduations. So, the typical time that they are in the property, and I have a lot of properties, as I said, in Beaufort as well, and it's very similar for those guests that they arrive late Wednesday. They're all day Thursday at a family day, all day Friday at the graduation, and then for the most part they're packing up and going home on Saturday. So again, I have yet to hear of any issues that have been brought to my attention regarding the property or any of the guests that have been staying there. And as I said, I am local. I live here locally. Me or my team, or someone on my team, is generally drives by that property at least once a week when we have guests there, and when we don't have guests there. I have an obligation to the homeowners to check on the property and inspect the property, whether I have guests in it or not. So that's basically all I wanted to say. And any questions, or I don't get questions from public comment. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzgerald. Ms. King.
Good evening. I am not a good speaker, but I have lived in Coffin Point Plantation since 2001. I bought there specifically because it was residential and it was not subject to short-term rentals. I think the minimum amount of occupation was 6 months. I don't know whether this property is in the plantation because we have not been given any of that information. I am a full-time person here. And again, if I had wanted to be around rentals, I would have gone to Fripp or Harbor Island. But I've been here since 2001, and more of these are trying to encroach into our area that is specifically supposed to be a residential community. And again, I would just say this is going to set a really bad precedent that more and more of them will be allowed if that is in the plantation. And again, the attorney has said there are areas that are not within Coffin Point Plantation. So I would just ask the committee to hold it over until we can actually determine whether or not it is in the plantation. We've not been given any information. I don't do Facebook. I'm sorry, I had no idea that this was even going on until 2 o'clock this afternoon. But I feel very, very strongly against having short-term renters come in. We don't know who they are. We don't know who they're bringing with them. And like I said, this has been a residential community totally for the 20-some years that I have been here. And this is not the first one that we have had to try to stop. They're not collecting. I have actually been a licensed real estate broker, first in North Carolina since 1978, and a licensed real estate broker here in South Carolina. And it is the owner's responsibility, whether there's a title search or not, to know whether there are covenants and restrictions on the property that you purchase. Now, those of us that own in Coffin Point Plantation, I think, deserve the time to determine whether or not this is within our
Thank you, Ms.
district.
King, your time is up.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you letting me.
Mr. Abel? Abate? Abate.
So we moved here from Maryland, and we own a substantial piece of property in there we just bought. And the reason we bought in here is it's a private community. Now, I know that they're trying to sell this as the military families come in, and that's who's renting this property. But there's no guarantee that that's who's going to be there. The neighborhood we moved here from had the same issue with VRBOs and short-term rentals. Crime went up. We had people going through our sheds. We had trash all over. People say that so far they've had no complaints. Well, so far the beaches down there are starting to collect more trash. They have the turtles that headlights off. All these people coming in, do they know the rules? I don't think so. So I think we need to step back before we make a decision on this. I really would implore you, please, let's look and make sure that this is or isn't in the community, because there is, I sent them over to Hillary, there is covenants in that neighborhood, a lot of them. The main one, though, out of all of them that really matters is exactly that, short-term rentals. It's a big concern for all of us. I have a lot of money and a lot of investment in this place right now because it was quiet and peaceful. I don't think we want to see this. I know that they're talking about how it might not be part of the community. Well, we maintain the roads in there. Sea Pines is one of them. County doesn't do that. That's us. It's part of the neighborhood. We maintain the access to the beaches. All that stuff it falls under us, and nobody else is paying for that. I really don't want to deal with short-term people coming in who really have no responsibility to the area, responsibility to the property. The property owners can't be there 24/7. Things are going to happen. Things are going to pick up. I've seen it already. Everybody's argued this point in Maryland, and the same exact thing happened. The more you start opening the communities, and I just pulled up on my phone for the heck of it to see where this was, because again, we just found out. There's advertisements in the neighborhood. It's illegal to have these things, but there's advertisements for Sea Island, Preston Tides, all these places, bed and breakfasts and rentals in there, short-term stuff. They're not even supposed to be in there, but they advertise for them. That's the first step. Once this gets approved, that's the first step for all these other people to start coming in and change the covenants. And all the stuff we've had in there for private community is going to be out the window. And we're all going to be dealing with this. And I don't think that's fair to the rest of us who have a big investment in this place. And neighbors that have been in there for
Thank you, Mr. Abate. Your time is up. Ms. Smith?
Because I came late, I just want to understand, it stands where they aren't sure whether this property is within the jurisdiction of
The
plantation?
The attorney, the closing attorney, another attorney, and the county have researched, and there are not covenants on this property.
There are not covenants on this property. All right, I just wanted to make sure I was clear on that. So at this point, if there aren't covenants, I'm sure y'all will decide is best properly for them. Thank you very much for your time on that. I appreciate the other two that you did earlier in the year that were within the jurisdictions and had the covenants and restrictions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Smith. That is all the public comment. I'll close public comment at this time. Board? Motions, discussion? I'm sorry. Questions?
I think this is, it is hard, but if it doesn't have the covenants on it, it's allowed in the county through the community code. So, and they satisfy all of the requirements, and that's what county council voted on. And if they're not part of the neighborhood, there's not a whole lot we can.
We don't know if it is. Well, nobody here can say yes or no definitely.
Well, they've done all
abstract and the title search as
state that we can investigate and find out for our own lawyers whether the covenants cover that or not, if that's actually jurisdiction. we have a little bit of time for that at least.
Respectfully, I don't think that that's necessary.
Yeah, it's already been done.
There's two
It's a
different attorneys
respectable
looked at this.
abstracting firm. It's two different law firms that have
Right.
looked over this, and
Yeah.
there are no covenants if that's that are subject to the property.
I mean, it is also the purview of the board, just, we're not obligated to give a special use even if there weren't covenants, you could not give a special use if you chose to do that.
The only question that I have, maybe of the attorney, is do they pay anything toward the maintenance of the road if they in fact are using the road to get to this house?
They got
They
this.
probably have an easement.
So even though there are no covenants and they're not subject to any sort of association, my client has actually offered to the association to contribute financially to them to take part into the community and be involved in that. So they've made that offer and they're willing to do that. Because again, they use it personally. They came down for 4th of July. There's a 4th of July parade that they enjoyed. So they do enjoy it. And so they've offered to participate even though they're not required.
Have you verified about the road on that side? The only reason why I ask is because I think he's inaccurate in saying that, ma'am. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, they said right here. The HOA would accept it.
Have you checked to see about their road and whether or not it's private or maintained by the county? Because I think the county actually maintains that side of Sea Pines.
They're county unpaved roads.
I think that the last
This property is on.
Well, the last that our HOA did, because I was the treasurer for 2 years, the last that we did was we bound over that side of Sea Pines we all thought that Sea Pines was already taken care of by the county, that all of Sea Pines. And we did McTier part of the way and we did the Avenue of Oaks. So I don't know that it's accurate that it's private. And I don't know who they would have offered to when it comes to HOA board members.
Yeah, I just recently inquired about that because I actually helped maintain the roads. And we were told that the only thing the county is responsible for, we talked to the guy that does the actual grading, is Oaks, the Avenue of Oaks, and McTier. That's it.
Well, they do Sea Pines.
Yeah, but their
They
addresses.
do Sea Pines.
Their address is on Sea Pine, so I assume they have an easement to get there if that's where their address is. So it's not really, they've got to be able to access their property.
I agree. I sympathize with everybody, but the roads here aren't the issue. The issue is the short-term rental.
If I may, Madam Chair, y'all's rules allow for a short reply.
Yes.
If that's acceptable. I hear what's being said, and what we see is we've looked at this particular property, which is what this board is looking at, is this particular property. I understand the concerns about short-term rentals and how that can affect more broadly, and there's been a lot of examples brought up of other places and other locations. But as Board Member Mitchell said, that's a political question and a political solution, and one which is a zoning determination. I mean, the council has decided that this is to be allowed if these conditions are met. They have been met. There are no covenants with respect to this property, and so I think that it needs to be approved for that reason. And the recourse of these individuals and other similarly situated individuals is to their county council person to revise the ordinance, if that's the way they see fit. But this is what's been passed, and we've gone through the process. So I think that's where we end up with respect to our process today. So I appreciate the time.
Thank you. The county would like to speak.
I just wanted to clarify, this is a special use. I think as you mentioned, there are criteria that we use to evaluate a special use. It has to do with consistency with the comprehensive plan, the impact on the neighborhood, the environment. So it's not like if you meet all these conditions or the covenants are consistent, that this board has no choice.
Mm-hmm.
This board still has a choice whether or not to approve this. I just wanted to
The
clarify
point
that.
that you were making.
Right. I mean, like the one several months ago with the septic. issue, so.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I just
Right.
wanted to say.
Absolutely. Yeah, I kind of said it definitively, but
Yeah. Any,
anybody,
the public comment is closed now. Any other comments from the board? Would somebody like to make a motion?
I certainly don't think that it is any kind of condition that can be put on. I think that despite a goodwill, it would be good for the owners to consider, continuing with their contributions to the HOA as to maintenance. But I would move that to approve this under the special use permit.
I'll second it.
All in favor? That's it.
Thank you.
Is there any other old business that we need to attend to? Any new business? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor for the shortest meeting ever?
I know.